Hi friends. Today I'm going to be embarking on a kind of reckless, kind of silly, kind of unadvisable project idea, but something that I'm really excited about doing, and that is unpicking my handmade wedding dress and making something new from it. I got married in February of this year, and I spent the 3 months before the wedding making my dream wedding dress. It was fun, it was scary, it was difficult, and it all came out well in the end. But ultimately, ever since the wedding, it's been a little bit sad for me seeing that my wedding dress is just sort of sitting there, and I can't get to enjoy all of my hard work in more everyday contexts. Like seriously, I really love this dress, and I just want to be able to wear it again, but not as a bride. Let me show you what my vision is. Some of you will have seen this dress before, but this is my wedding dress. It is almost entirely made of secondhand materials. It has a corselet as the inside structure. It's got this gorgeous fluffy skirt, and one of my favorite details from this whole piece is that it is completely covered in hand-stitched sequin trails. There's two main things that I want to accomplish with this project. The first being I would love to harvest this corselet from my wedding dress. It is so well made from high quality materials and it fits me well, and I think it would just make a great base for a future dress, so I want it back. And secondly, I want to create a new dress that feels more everyday and less bridal, but still has the same vibe of my wedding dress, so it feels like a memory when I wear it. My vision is I'm going to use all of this sheer vintage overlay skirt fabric, and I would love to create a smock style dress. I think I'm going to have to patchwork the top portion using all of the excess from the bottom of the dress. And then I'm going to reattach the skirt to the smock bodice. And the final and most exciting step is I want to add so much more sequin embroidery to the dress. As I said, my favorite part of making this wedding dress was doing all of the sequin work, and I kind of ran out of time, so I didn't get to do as much as I wanted to. So getting to make the dress again gives me a chance to add more and more and more sequins and get to enjoy that process and kind of get to see my vision fulfilled, and then I get to enjoy wearing my vision. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if any of that made sense, but that's sort of where my hodgepodge mess of ideas is sitting. And I think the first step is getting into unpicking all of the elements of this dress. Luckily, it's almost completely hand stitched, so it shouldn't be too hard. Also, I know some of you might be feeling sad that I'm unpicking my wedding dress, but I think it's totally okay. I tried it on the other day and it kind of just felt fun for a few minutes, and then I just felt like, oh, it's a little uncomfortable, the zip is kind of busted, and I was just thinking again about how I could have made it better and stuff like that. So I think it's really healthy for me to just make it into something new and get to enjoy it again and again and again, and leave it be. Before I get into the heat of this project, I am so excited to announce the sponsor of today's video, which is Ana Luisa. Ana Luisa elevates your everyday. They have something for everybody with high quality, tarnish resistant jewelry that makes you feel sparkly inside and out. Based in New York City, they deliver simple, beautiful, and high-quality jewelry at a fair price. Now, I'm planning on taking Elijah on a little date to debut the transformation of this wedding dress, just as a little special moment. So to complete my look, I picked out some gorgeous Ana Luisa pieces to go with the dress. Ended up going with the Toda double hoop earrings in gold and the Hannah bracelet in gold as well. I was drawn to this subtle sparkle of this earring. I think it's so gorgeous, and it's very kind that it references all of the lovely sparkles going on in my wedding dress. So I think they're going to go together really nicely. I also think they go perfectly with my Jessica puffed heart hoops from Ana Luisa, which is such a nice win. Also, it should be noted that I've been wearing my Ana Luisa earrings non-stop for several weeks now, and guys, the quality is incredible. I've been wearing them in the shower, I've been wearing them to sleep, I've been wearing them to exercise, and they are just genuinely so easy to wear. They're durable, and they are truly as sparkling, as glimmering, and as perfect as the day that I got them. Also, in addition to my earrings, I am loving my Hannah bracelet, which has these gorgeously dainty pearls alternating with these gold flowers. I think it's so beautiful, and I love that these pieces feel like friends. This is me showing you the bracelet next to my earrings. At Ana Luisa, every piece of jewelry is rigorously tested and guaranteed to be hypoallergenic, long-lasting, and water-resistant. And the jewelry won't break the bank with pieces starting from just $39. Ana Luisa's jewelry is also crafted with the planet in mind. The brand is carbon neutral and climate neutral certified, offsetting 100% of their carbon footprint. And I don't think you're gonna need this, but if there's anything you don't like, Ana Luisa have got your back with a 2-year warranty and free shipping and exchanges within the US. And for all of my friends that live outside of the US, like me, Ana Luisa have worldwide shipping, so yay! I'm gonna leave a link in the description box of this video for you to check out Ana Luisa, and you can get 20% off of your order if you use that link or my discount code. And let me know if you end up getting any Ana Luisa pieces. I would love to know what you end up selecting, or if you already have some in your collection, what are your favorites? I would love to know all the details. I personally can't wait to wear all of my pieces together on my little special date with my upcycled wedding dress. I'll let you know how it goes. And thank you so much to Ana Luisa for sponsoring this video. I'm just a big fan. And without further ado, it is time to start unpicking this wedding dress. Let's do it. I'm actually really excited to unpick this dress. I don't know why. I just think it's going to be even more awesome as something that I can wear all of the time. And right now it's sort of just this symbol of 3 months of stress. Don't get me wrong, it's also like happy memories and stuff, but the memories of my wedding day are not necessarily tied to my dress. It was just a good day, period. So I feel good packing this dress up and making it something new. This is boring for you to watch. I'm just gonna unpick it and I'm just gonna see you when it's unpicked, I think, because there's not much to show. Just like that, the corselet is out. This was challenging to make, I'm not gonna lie. I'll use this again though, so that's awesome. If you're wondering about the pattern, this was the 1950s Dior Couture corselet and petticoat foundation pattern. I'll link it in the description if you're interested. It's a great pattern. See ya. Now I gotta get this zip out, I think, and then I can get my skirt free. I think the zip is attached in like 3 different seams because I bound it. I kind of feel like just snipping it out, and maybe I will. The zip is already busted anyway, so it's not like I can repurpose the zipper, so let's snip it. Oh my goodness gracious. It's wild just snipping up something that I spent so long creating. It's okay though. Far out. Okay. I still haven't decided what to do with this bodice though. I'm very open to suggestions. Let me know if you have a good idea. Look. Ah! Crazy. That's awesome. Get out of here. Just need to take the tulle out, which will be pretty easy, I think. I'll probably just snip it actually. I don't even know if this fabric would withstand the pressure of the seam ripper. I think that the top of the fabric would just look crazy anyway from having all the stitches taken out of it. So a clean cut is probably my best option. Ah, there it is. It's possible that the skirt might be a little bit too short at the front now because I did trim it to be sort of T-length and it was kind of a drop waist. We'll see, because now it probably will need to sit there. Oh, it could be perfect. It's also possible that this amount of fabric might make it look a little bit too fancy, and I might need to take a panel of the skirt out to reduce volume. That would be great too, because then I could use that panel for the top portion of the dress. Okay, time to figure this whole thing out now. Are they just painting us a painting? Good.
Just working on my painting. It's okay for now. And later, it's gonna be boss. It's gonna be lit later. It's gonna be so swag. But I don't know what I'm doing right now, so.
Okay, I had lunch and I've been thinking more about this skirt, and I think it's going to be too voluminous for an everyday look. Not that this is an everyday piece, but I want to be able to wear it out and people not think, oh, that's a bride. And I feel like if it's all gathered up like this, it's going to have a really fun amount of volume, but it's maybe a little bit more dramatic. Whereas if it's more like this, I think that's less dramatic and potentially what I want. I don't want to take out all of the volume, but I might just take out some of the front panels just to reduce it. And also that's going to take out my shorter panels. So that means it'll have more control over what hem length I want. That was such a hard sentence to say. So I think I'll just take out 2 of the front panels. Yeah. And I also hope that when I take out some of the volume, you might be able to appreciate the pattern and the sequins a little bit more. I'm nervous too, but I think it's the move. I think it's the move for sure. Let's do this. It's also awesome because I can just make my bodice out of those 2 panels that I'm taking out, and they already have some sequin embroidery in them. So it kind of just gets me a little head start. It gets me a little head start, gives me a head start, it helps me. It's good. Just to run away, someone's gotta pay. It's such a voluminous skirt. Oh, so pretty. I've already forgotten which are the short sides. I'll figure it out. Someone's gotta pay. I'm pretty sure it's this panel here. Oh, this is actually gonna take some of my sequin work out. This is so sad. Oh, it's okay, I don't think I can avoid it. Okay, I'll start with just taking this guy out. Yeah, it's a bit risky. What if I just immediately ripped? I think I can just cut through that. I don't see any reason why I can't. Okay, that's one panel. I just tried it on and I do really love the volume, but I still think too much fabric. So I'm gonna take one more out. I can always reattach it if I want to. Hopefully I don't regret this. I think this is probably right for the amount of fabric that I want in the skirt. It just means that I won't have any gathering at the waistline and it will just attach as is. But obviously the way that the pattern is cut, I think it's probably like a circle skirt. It could be a little bit less, but basically it's going to increase in volume as it gets longer. So it's kind of still pretty dramatic. I'm happy with this, so I'm going to sew up the side seam. Originally this dress was sewn up and then the edges were just sort of finished. I don't know what this finish is, whether it's like a tiny bit of glue or maybe they used like the actual natural edge of the fabric, which is very unlikely because it is a circle skirt cut. I don't know if it's burned, but it's just like a perfect, neat finish. Let's have a little see if I can replicate that. Otherwise, I think I'm just going to use French seams. In fact, maybe I should just do that anyway. Oh, the problem that will occur if I do French seams is that I've already sewn sequins across these seam lines. Maybe I'll just add some anti-fray to the edges. Okay, this is where it's a bit messy and I'm just going to try and even out the seam allowance. It doesn't have to be so durable because I'm not going to be putting this garment in the wash, but I still want it to look clean. It definitely will fray. I'm going to use anti-fray. It's actually called fray stopper, my bad. I'm just going to add this to the edge. I reckon this is exactly what they've done. Ooh, that was a bit goopy, that one. Oops, it's okay. I do think that fray stopper is recommended for raw fabric edges, hems, and seams fraying. This is actually a perfect use of something like this. I've just never done it before, so it feels a bit weird to me. That's normal. This is so rogue the way I'm applying this. Well, that's fine, I think. I'm gonna use that for all of my seams, question mark. I might actually not use that for the bodice. I might do a French seam at the waistline and the bodice seams, but for the skirt seams, I think I'll just do that fray stopper. It's fine. It's really funny, most of the time when I'm sewing, I feel like such a perfectionist and I want everything to be as good as it possibly could be. And then every now and then I'll do a project and I'll just be like, meh, whatever it is, it will be. And that's how I'm feeling about this one. I probably already used all my perfectionism on the actual wedding dress, so now we can just have fun. Okay, let's sew the side seam up. A little trick that I learned for working with fine fabrics like organza or tulle is you don't necessarily have to backstitch because it may jam up your machine, or it also could create a little bit of excess bulk where you did the backstitching. So what you can do is reduce your stitch length to the smallest possible number. So my industrial goes basically to 0. So a little bit more than 0. Obviously we don't want to just stay on the spot, but I've reduced it to 0.5 or something like that. And it's going to do a really, really small stitch. And then after maybe 5 to 10 stitches, I will move it back up to my regular stitch length and continue sewing. And that is secure. It's pretty cool, I'll show you. So my fabric's right sides together, my stitch length is really small, and you can see the needle barely is moving. And that's good. I'm gonna move it up to about 2 point something. It's still a pretty small stitch length, but I like that for security if I'm working on important seams. And that's nice and secure at the top, but not bulky. Love it. Bam. Oh, sequin in the seam. Get out of there. Maybe a little bit longer than that. And now we fray stop that seam. I have no idea the correct way to apply this. This feels really wrong. What if I just used this right on there? Maybe. I'm just about to press those side seams out, but I just tried it on for fun, and I think it's probably going to be a little bit too tight around the waist. Looks good, but I don't want to put a zipper in this. So I want to be able to get it over my shoulders. And look, I can, but maybe I'd be a bit more comfortable if I just took an inch off the top of the waist. So I probably will do that, because I can. I didn't really enjoy using fray stopper as a finishing method. I would prefer to even do a little hand stitch to secure these seams, I think. I'm not a fan of using glue when I could be using sewing. Oh, glue also glued the seam together. I'm so silly. Of course it did. Okay. Where are my scissors? Found them. Is that even? No. But it's okay, because I will even out the hem as a final step. Whenever you cut through a seam, it's imperative that you sew that seam again to make sure it's really nice and sturdy. Very, very sad for a seam to split after you've constructed your garment. Believe me, I've been there. Still your name and your soul are defiled. Actually, what would have been really smart was me trying this on before I did that, just to see if I need to take any more off the skirt. Oh, it's easier. That seems great. Cool. Time to make a bodice. Aww. It is a circle. Yeah, so it was a double circle skirt beforehand. Wow, cool. I'm feeling particularly lazy today, so for my pattern piece, I'm using the Claire dress bodice, but I'm hacking it to have a slightly higher neckline. I might bring it down a little bit, give it a little bit more length at the waist, and I may also need to adjust the arm just so that I can make it sleeveless. To do all of those things, I'm just gonna make a twile. I'd much rather figure out what's working and what's not working using my muslin than using my nice vintage wedding dress fabric. I'm just gonna piece this mock up together and I'll show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. All right, this is the twile. It's totally fine. I think I'm just gonna add 1 or 2 inches of length to the bodice because it's a bit too cropped for my style. I think I need to elongate the armhole just because I forgot it's an overlay, so it's going on top of clothes. So there needs to be a little bit more ease so that it's nice and comfortable and that it doesn't bunch the sleeve up by being too tight. Also, I might just add like 1 centimeter more ease on the side of the neckline, just by trimming that fabric away. Other than that though, we're good. So I'm gonna make those edits and then we can make the real bodice. Ow, ow. When I work with a twile, I use a really, really long stitch length so I can just quickly take it apart and then I can see any edits that I made to my fabric. For example, when I was wearing this, I just cut a little bit of the fabric away from the neckline, and that edit I can just now transfer to my paper pattern. If I was making a more fitted garment, I would 100% make a second twile before cutting into good fabric, but because this is an oversized smock bodice, it's not too many places to create an error, so it really should be fine. Famous last words, but I think I'll just do my edit and then I'll sew. Just take off, I think I'm just gonna do 1/2 inch off the bottom of the armhole and then grade that up just about immediately. How about I grade it up at the notch? That's a really smart idea. And should be a 1/2 inch, but I'll just make sure it's the same. Beautiful. And I'll grade that. Okay, to lengthen the bodice, I just cut it at such an arbitrary length because I want to keep this curve because it's quite nice. And I'm just gonna put a piece of paper in between and put 2 inches, yeah, about 2 inches of length in between those 2 pattern pieces, lining up the sides and the center and just doing such a dodgy sticky tape job. And now I'll just cut this out here. And that's how to add length to something without distorting the bottom hem if it's a particular shape. Bam! That'll do. Oh, this guy needs it too. And now I just need to repeat that for the front bodice. All right, that should be roughly good. Cool. Now for the real deal. Where are my scissors? Oh my gosh. How many times do I have to ask that every single video? Let's see if I can find some beautiful sequin work. Now the two bodice pieces are going to get French seamed together, which means sewing them wrong sides together along the shoulder seams and the side seams. For really neat and accurate French seams, I like to sew at 1/4 of an inch. Then I'll trim that seam allowance down to 1/8 of an inch, or just below that. Press that seam and press it from the other side. And then sew at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance once again. And that's how you get a really clean French seam that is exactly 1/2 of an inch seam allowance that's been used. So good. I'm going to do that for all of my seams now, and then I will talk to you again. Once I learned how to do a French seam really well, I have become fully obsessed with them. It's probably my preferred way of finishing a seam now, just because it's not only super neat and tidy, but it's also just classy, you know. That's pretty good. And that's the bodice. It's pretty good, I think. All I need to do now is finish the neckline and the armholes and attach the skirt to the bodice. So let's figure that out. It's the next day. I've got my skirt ready to be sewn to the bodice. I'm going to sew wrong sides together and just French seam that seam. I was so lucky because I accidentally fluked having the skirt being the same circumference measurement as the bodice, so they fit pretty much perfectly together. So that was really, really lucky. Anyway, I'm gonna sew them together. Awesome. Now it's time to hem it. Now the dress hem is kind of wonky and it's also a circle, so I can't just cut off an even amount of fabric. So what I'm going to do is I've got my dress on my mannequin and I like to just get my ruler. Oh, it might be weird on the carpet. I'll take it to the cement. Hang on. This will be a little bit more accurate because I'm not pushing my ruler into the carpet. But essentially what I'm going to do is place my ruler on the floor and I'm going to decide a measurement where I'm going to trim the skirt to. I'm not exactly sure how much length I'm taking off at this stage, but it's better to be more conservative and then take off more at a second cutting time. 9 inches. I think I'm liking 9 inches. And basically I'm going to go around the entire skirt just making really small snips roughly at that 9-inch mark. And in a second I'm going to take the dress off the mannequin and I'm going to cut all the way around, joining up all of those incisions. It might be a smarter move to do markings, like get a little pen and mark these lines, but I'm pretty happy just going for a snip straight away. I just be like that. I'm feeling like this is going to look extremely bridal no matter what I do to it. It's okay though. It's also breaking my heart that I have to snip through some of my sequin work. I will replace it. There'll be more than there ever was, but it took so long. I just looked over almost the entire skirt and I don't know why, but the incisions that I made are incredibly hard to locate on this fabric, so I think I'm just gonna go and do all of those markings again, but this time in a marker. Okay, I cut the hem and it's actually perfect. I'm really lucky I didn't take any more off because I think it's almost too short. It's probably just right. That's the vibe. It's not perfectly even. I still need to even it out in a few places, but I think this is really good. Just sitting at that place where if I'm wearing pants, they stick out underneath, and if I'm wearing a dress, it'll probably fit perfectly, hopefully. My only other thought is maybe I want to add some sort of tie at the back just to give myself a little bit more ease when I'm taking it on and off. I'm just not entirely sure. I can put it on and off. It's just a little bit of a struggle. I just kind of like it being really simple like that as well. I don't know. Let's do this hem first and I'll figure it out later. Perfect. Now it's time to do a baby hem. To do a baby rolled hem, I'm going to be turning over my fabric to the wrong side by just a smidge, and then I'm going to be stitching right along the edge. And after I do that stitch, I'll be trimming off the excess fabric and then rolling it up one more time and stitching it down. There are sewing machine foots you can get to help you do this, but I really don't mind taking my time and just trying to get this as neat as possible. I'm folding this over, and then I'm just stitching right along the edge of the fold. So there will be this excess fabric on the left side of my needle, and that's totally fine. I'll trim that away. Now that I've sewn this tiny little hem, I'm going to trim off as much of the excess fabric as I can without snipping too far into the stitches. Sort of just like this, you can even see. And then of course the final step will be to roll that up one more time, and that's how you get a really, really small hem. Like I was saying before, this is a pretty timely process, but you just need to go slow, use some really small little snips, put a good podcast on, and just trust the process, because it's totally worth it, in my opinion. I'm gonna do this and I'll catch you when I'm done. Right, I have to finish the neck hole and the armholes of this, and I'm gonna see if I can create some bias tape with this fabric. I don't know how it's going to react. I'm not really confident of this idea, but I also don't know what else to do, so I'm just gonna try it. It does feel kind of sad to cut across this, but I think that's just what's gotta happen. Well, I tried making bias tape out of this material and I just really didn't want to cooperate. So I ended up using some of my old silk from my wedding dress and made bias tape out of this. It is a little fiddly and hard to work with, but I did one sleeve so far and I think it looks good. It looks great actually. I just wanted something that finishes the edge without drawing attention to it, which is exactly what that is. So yeah, I'm just gonna finish off the neckline and the other sleeve using that. Anyway, let's finish this. And this is where it gets really fiddly, but basically I'm just gonna do my very best to fold this bias tape over so that it sits on the wrong side of the garment, and then I'm gonna pin it all down. I don't normally pin my bias tape down, but just because it's so slippery and hard to work with, I'm gonna use every trick in the book that I have. Every book trick. Nailed it. And I'm gonna start at the side seam so it's the least visible area of the stitching, and I'm gonna stitch this down. This is really not my best work, but that's okay. Yay! Ta-da! I love it. I think that it was such a good move taking out half of the volume of the skirt, because now it feels a bit more playful and fun rather than being really dramatic and bridal. So that's a win. I'm also really happy with how the neckline and the sleeve binding came out. It just looks nice and neat and clean, and it's not like overly distracting. You know what I mean? It's just kind of doing its job, so that's great. Anyway, I am now officially at the part of the project that I've wanted to be doing this whole time, and that is adding an unfathomable amount of sequins to this garment. Truly, the only reason why I'm doing this whole project is because I really just wanted to do more sequin embroidery on my wedding dress, and I just didn't get to fully realize my dream of sparkliness. So I'm coming back for more. That's what's happening. Anyway, why don't we just do some sequins? Why don't we just do some sequins now? Okay, sequin time. I have so many sequins left over from my wedding dress, and I'm going to be putting these to good use. The main thing I have is a lot of iridescent and white sequins of different shapes and sizes. And then I have a huge mixed tray of all sorts of different kinds. There's stars, butterflies, and then just like a bunch of other ones like green, aqua, pink, peach. It's really fun and cute. Oh, and I have a whole other glasses case just full of these guys. Cool. And because I have such a huge array of sequins, the way that I've been embroidering this fabric with the sequins is I just do these really long cascading trails, and I do whatever I want along those trails. So ideally I'll be incorporating a lot of different sequins in each trail, which just brings all of this excitement and glimmer and fun to the piece. It's super easy to do. I use one strand of thread because I don't want it to be thick or clunky. Thread my needle and then I begin. Because the fabric is really thin, I've been trying to start my thread on a thicker place like a seam or one of these areas where they have this little applique. It just seems to hold a little bit stronger than if I just start on this really thin part of the fabric. Well, I just spent the last hour stitching more sparkles to the front and the back of the bodice, and hopefully you can see on camera, it is definitely more sparkly than before. It's very, very exciting to me. I just love the silhouette, and I know that the more sparkles I add, the more enchanting it will become. So I'm just really looking forward to the rest of this project. I apologize that I couldn't finish it in the span of this video, but I think it just demands a little bit more time and attention in this instance. But fear not, as soon as I finish stitching this project, I will absolutely share it with you, so stay tuned. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you so very much. And as always, please let me know how you're going. Are you working on any cool projects right now? Anything to do with sewing, knitting, crochet, art, craft? I would just love to know. Is there any good news happening? Just leave me a little treat in the comment section, if you so please. I would love to hear from you. And yeah, also before I go, I heard a little rumor that some of my old choir students have been watching my YouTube videos. So if you're still here and you're one of my old choir students, I miss you. I hope you're going good. Lots of love. You're the best. Before I go, if you want to check out Ana Luisa, be sure to use the link in the description box of this video for 20% off your next order. I highly recommend. They do really, really good, beautiful, timeless jewelry. And that's all from me, guys. I'm gonna leave now because I've been talking for so long, my friends. So long, my friends. Okay, bye.